You didn't just survive, you passed. And that truth alone shifts the entire atmosphere around you. If you're reading this right now, it's not a coincidence, not a random click, not a casual moment of scrolling. This is a divine appointment. Heaven let this message reach you because the season of silence is ending, and the season of clarity is beginning. The tests you walked through weren't designed to break you, they were designed to reveal you. And now that you've passed, Heaven is finally releasing what it couldn't tell you during the battles. Some instructions only activate after certain levels are completed. Some revelations only come after your character has matured enough to carry them. Some doors only open after you've proven you won't sabotage your own destiny. That's why this moment matters so much. When God chooses someone, He doesn't choose them because they're perfect, He chooses them because their spirit is willing. He chooses them because they listen, because they hunger for truth, because they can be trusted with what others mishandled. You may have doubted yourself along the way. You may have cried, complained, or collapsed more than once. You may have wondered why your life felt harder than others. But Heaven saw you get up again. Heaven saw you keep going. Heaven saw that even your smallest yes was sincere. So now it's time to tell you everything. Let's start with the question you've been carrying for years: why were the tests so heavy? Because your calling is heavy. Because your assignment is weighty. Because your influence will be greater than you expect. God never tests lightly what He plans to use mightily. Your hidden season wasn't punishment, it was preparation. While you were wondering why certain doors stayed shut, Heaven was fortifying your foundation so those same doors wouldn't crush you when they eventually opened. You passed because you remained faithful when nothing made sense. You passed because you refused to betray your soul just to fit in. You passed because you stayed pure in a polluted world. You passed because you kept loving while healing from wounds that weren't your fault. You passed because the fire shaped you, but didn't consume you. And now Heaven is releasing clarity on what's unlocking next. First, your discernment is about to increase. This means certain people will reveal their true intentions without you even asking. False relationships will fall away without conflict. You won't have to force anything. Anyone who cannot honor where you're going will quietly exit. God is cleaning your circle because elevation requires separation. Do not chase what He removes. Second, your vision is about to sharpen. What felt blurry will become obvious. What felt confusing will become simple. You'll feel a pull toward specific assignments, creative projects, spiritual disciplines, new connections, new opportunities. These aren't random impulses, they are divine instructions. God is aligning your steps with your future. Third, your favor is about to become visible. The same environments that ignored you will suddenly make room for you. The same people who dismissed you will wonder how you're rising so fast. Favor is not earned, it's recognized. And you're stepping into a season where people recognize the light you carry. But here's the part Heaven needs you to understand. Elevation comes with responsibility. Passing the test means you must now steward what God places in your hands with excellence. No more living small. No more doubting your gift. No more waiting for permission from people who can't see what God placed in you. These are the clear steps Heaven is giving you now so you don't just rise, you rise well. 1. Focus your prayer. Your prayers must become intentional, not scattered. Pray for alignment, not approval. Pray for wisdom, not revenge. Pray for preparation, not shortcuts. Your next level requires spiritual precision. 2. Clean your circle. Not everyone can walk with a chosen one. Some are distractions disguised as friendships. Some are parasites disguised as helpers. Some are delay makers sent to drain your time, your peace, or your energy. Protect your space as if your destiny depends on it, because it does. 3. Finish what you started. Unfinished assignments leak favor. Everything God told you to build, complete it. Everything He told you to release, release it. Everything He told you to begin, begin it. You passed the test, now activate the instructions. 4. Present your gift with excellence. God is not asking for perfection, He's asking for commitment. Excellence honors the God who chose you. When you step forward, do it with intention. Show up prepared. Build with care. Speak with clarity. Serve with humility. Excellence multiplies favor. 5. Walk through prepared doors. Some opportunities will feel too big. Some will feel too intimidating. Some will feel too fast. Step anyway. God didn't bring you through years of wilderness for you to freeze at the entrance of the promised land. And now let's talk about the areas where heaven is about to bring direction. Relationships. Expect sudden clarity. Those who are aligned with your destiny will show consistency, depth, and peace. Those who are not will show confusion, chaos, or concealment. Don't cling to what God is pruning. The right connections will feel like confirmation, not contradiction. Assignments. You will feel unusual creativity awakening. You'll get ideas that come out of nowhere. You'll feel nudges to step into leadership, mentorship, ministry, or creative expression. The instructions you've been sensing but ignoring. Move on them now. Finances. This is the season where God shifts you from survival to strategy. You're going to receive divine ideas that create streams, not puddles. Opportunities to sow, build, and multiply will show up. Your hands will prosper because your heart stayed pure in lack. Favor. You will see acceleration that doesn't match your effort. That's what happens when heaven endorses you. Things that once took months will happen in days. Conversations will align themselves. People will recommend you behind closed doors. Rooms you didn't ask to enter will call your name. Now, before you continue reading, pause and breathe. Your spirit is already feeling the truth of what's happening. Your life is shifting gears, and this shift is spiritual before it becomes visible. When God says, "You passed," He means you're trustworthy now. You're trustworthy with influence. You're trustworthy with revelation. You're trustworthy with blessing. You're trustworthy with responsibility. You're trustworthy with more. And heaven is ready to release more. More clarity. More strength. More alignment. More protection. More divine timing. More purpose. More instruction. More grace. But here's the key: your obedience now multiplies your results. Delayed obedience produces delayed manifestation. Partial obedience produces partial blessing. Immediate obedience unlocks immediate favor. That's why you're receiving this message exactly now. God is calling you into action, not intention. Into movement, not imagination. Into completion, not contemplation. You are being activated. The world will try to convince you that playing small is humble. But heaven says playing small is disobedience. You weren't created to blend in, you were created to stand out. You were created to carry weight, authority, insight, compassion, and divine excellence. And now that you have passed the hidden tests, the tests of character, loyalty, restraint, humility, and endurance, God no longer needs to hide you. He is preparing to reveal you. But before we close, heaven wants you to have something practical, a checklist you can act on today, not tomorrow. Remove one distraction from your environment this week. Complete one unfinished project God told you to start. Write down the instructions you've been sensing but avoiding. Release one unhealthy connection without guilt or fear. Spend at least 10 minutes in focused prayer daily. Present one part of your gift publicly, even if it feels small. Say yes to the opportunity God places in front of you next. This checklist isn't busywork, it's obedience training. It activates momentum in the spirit and aligns your life with heaven's timing. Now here is your short activation, and as you read it, allow it to settle into your spirit. I step into the identity God wrote for me before I was born. I release fear, doubt, delay, and confusion. Every test I endured now becomes fuel for my calling. Every wound becomes wisdom. Every closed door becomes direction. I am aligned. I am ready. I am chosen. And I will walk boldly through every door heaven opens for me. Let these words settle. Let them anchor you. Let them reset your spirit. Because the truth is simple. You didn't just survive, you passed. And now heaven can finally tell you everything. Your next chapter will not look like your last. Your blessings will not look like your battles. Your growth will not look like your grief. Your future will not look like your past. You are stepping into the season you prayed for, even when you thought God wasn't listening. He was listening. He was preparing. And now, He is releasing. Walk forward with confidence. You earned this elevation. You passed. You've stepped into a realm where the air feels different, not because life suddenly became easier, but because you finally aligned with who you were always meant to be. And when alignment happens, the spiritual atmosphere around a chosen one shifts. The warfare that once felt suffocating loosens its grip. The doubts that once echoed loudly begin to fade. The clarity that once felt distant starts to crystallize. This is what happens after a divine promotion. This is what happens when heaven says, "You passed." Now, the continuation of this message goes deeper, not to flatter your emotions but to anchor your identity. Because chosen ones don't just rise, they must rise with understanding. Without understanding, blessings become burdens. Without understanding, open doors become overwhelming. Without understanding, favor becomes mismanaged. Heaven gives revelation so elevation can be sustained. You've been asking questions for a long time, questions you never voiced to anyone because you knew people around you wouldn't understand. Questions like, why do I feel so different? Why do I sense things before they happen? Why do people come to me for strength even when I'm tired? Why do I have to go through more pain than others? Why do I attract spiritual attacks when I'm just trying to live right? These questions weren't signs of weakness. They were signs of calling. The moment your spirit awakened, the testing began. Now let's answer the deeper spiritual questions heaven couldn't answer until you proved you were ready. Why did people betray you? Because loyalty is tested before elevation. God needed to show you who couldn't travel with you. Some people were seasonal, you tried to make them permanent. Their exit protected your destiny. Their betrayal purified your discernment. Their absence cleared the path for divine replacements. Why did God isolate you? Because clarity lives in quiet spaces. Chosen ones hear God more clearly in solitude than in crowds. Isolation wasn't punishment, it was instruction. God removed distractions so you could hear Him. He separated you from noise so He could shape you. He didn't hide you from the world, He hid you for the world. Why did you fight silent battles no one knew about? Because spiritual ranks are earned through unseen victories. The greatest transformations happen behind closed doors. When you were fighting depression, anxiety, confusion, heartbreak, or pressure, heaven was watching how you battled. You may not have fought perfectly, but you fought honestly, and that is what heaven honors. Why did the enemy attack your identity? Because identity is the foundation of destiny. If you don't know who you are, you won't know what belongs to you. If you don't know your authority, you won't know how to use it. If you don't know your value, you'll accept counterfeits. The enemy wasn't afraid of your personality or your skills, he was afraid of your calling. He tried to break you before you discovered it. But you survived. You matured. You awakened. You passed. And now comes a deeper layer of revelation. Heaven is releasing strategy. Chosen ones don't just feel, they discern. Chosen ones don't just dream, they build. Chosen ones don't just rise, they lead. You're about to start sensing instructions in unusual ways. Not random thoughts, divine prompts. Not human ideas, God-inspired blueprints. You'll feel a push toward certain habits, relationships, environments, and actions. These shifts are part of your activation. Let's go deeper into what's happening spiritually. Your spiritual authority has increased. You may not see it yet, but darkness feels it. That's why your dreams have changed. That's why your inner sensitivity has heightened. That's why you can sense energy shifts in rooms. When a chosen one passes spiritual tests, heaven increases their authority to speak, to direct, to shift atmospheres, and to influence hearts. Your inner voice is becoming clearer. The confusion you battled wasn't natural, it was spiritual interference. Now that you've passed, the static is clearing. You'll know things without knowing how you know them. You'll sense timing, motives, and intentions with divine clarity. This is not paranoia, this is discernment matured. Your emotional resilience has expanded. You've learned to feel without falling apart. What used to break you now builds you. What used to discourage you now trains you. What used to scare you now strengthens you. You've become spiritually and emotionally unshakable, and that makes you dangerous to darkness. Your purpose is calling louder. You'll notice your spirit reacting strongly to anything that aligns or misaligns with your destiny. Things that once entertained you will no longer satisfy you. People who once drained you will now be obvious. Environments that once felt normal will feel heavy. This is God redirecting your steps toward your assignment. Now let's move into the practical dimension of your next level. Because chosen ones need both revelation and execution. Assignment areas that need your attention now. 1. Your mind. You cannot enter your next season with the language of your old season. Negative self-talk must go. Doubt must go. Guilt must go. Fear must go. The moment you passed the test, heaven rewrote your internal script. Now it's your job to agree with it. 2. Your habits. Stopping cycles requires changing rhythms. You're being called into consistency. Consistency in prayer. Consistency in discipline. Consistency in creativity. Consistency in healing. Your next level needs habits that your old level didn't require. 3. Your relationships. Some relationships will feel spiritually incompatible now. That's not arrogance, it's alignment. As God elevates you, He also filters your connections. Anyone who distracts, drains, manipulates, or confuses you cannot stay. God is not just protecting you from people, He's protecting your future from people. 4. Your finances. Chosen ones are stepping into a season of stewardship. Heaven is preparing to release resources, but it must know you can manage them. The ideas, opportunities, and open doors that appear now are connected to financial elevation. Preparation will determine manifestation. 5. Your gift. Your gift will no longer stay in the shadows. God is pushing it forward. You'll feel uncomfortable hiding it. You'll feel guilty shrinking it. You'll feel restless ignoring it. This is because heaven is assigning impact to your gift. Begin refining it with seriousness. Spiritual shifts you will notice soon. People will recognize your presence before you speak. Not because of your appearance, but because of your aura. The light you carry will communicate before your words do. Strangers will open up to you unexpectedly. Chosen ones carry safety. People sense it. They will confess things to you that they've hidden for years. Opportunities will come that make no sense. Not opportunities you pursued, opportunities that pursue you. This is what divine timing feels like. You will lose desire for meaningless conversations. Your spirit has outgrown superficiality. You crave depth, truth, and authenticity. You will feel protected in ways you cannot explain. Doors will close to keep you safe. People will exit to guard your peace. Delays will redirect you into blessings. Now let's talk about something deeper, the spiritual inheritance you are stepping into. Chosen ones carry generational weight. You break cycles others couldn't. You heal wounds others ignored. You shift patterns others repeated. You rise where others fell. You obey where others resisted. You see what others refused to see. This is why your life has been intense. This is why your journey has felt different. This is why your spirit has always been older than your age. You were born with a blueprint. You were born with spiritual DNA. You were born with a divine mark. And that mark is becoming visible. Your next steps matter more than you think. Every action you take now multiplies. Every yes you give heaven accelerates. Every boundary you set protects destiny. Every act of obedience shifts your timeline. This is why the message says, your obedience now multiplies results. Not later. Not someday. Now. Because heaven has already released what you've been praying for. The only thing left is your activation. Let's close this continuation with another layer of impartation, one that prepares your spirit to walk boldly. You are stepping into a season where everything that once worked against you will begin working for you. Every delay becomes divine timing. Every setback becomes strategy. Every wound becomes wisdom. Every loss becomes alignment. You are no longer surviving, you are advancing. You are no longer hidden, you are being positioned. You are no longer questioning, you are walking in clarity. And every step you take from this moment forward is guided, guarded, and grace-filled. You passed. And because you passed, heaven trusts you with more. More influence. More revelation. More responsibility. More blessing. More purpose. More destiny. Keep walking. You're not stepping into the unknown. You're stepping into what was prepared for you all along.